And welcome to the special edition of Hannity. Biden's Afghanistan disaster. Now, for the hour, we're going to review Joe Biden's catastrophic withdrawal from Afghanistan, leaving Americans behind enemy lines. We'll cover the idiotic planning, the poor decision-making, the moral cowardice from a president who is clearly not fit to lead this country.
If there's American citizens left, we're going to stay till we get them all out.
It's easy to second guess.
We do take care of our own. We leave nobody behind.
The Biden administration has managed that as well as it could be managed under the circumstances we were placed in.
It's what America's all about. It's about pulling together, leaving nobody behind. Couldn't this have been done in a more orderly manner? I respectfully disagree.
Americans held hostage, abandoned behind enemy lines. Day 20.
All right, day 20, Americans held hostage, held behind enemy lines of the Taliban terrorists. And tonight we begin in May, 1 month before the Taliban's fighting season. Now, this was President Trump's deadline for withdrawal. Now, if, and it's a big if, the Taliban, if they followed through with all of their promises, because they knew if they broke any rules, harmed any Americans, killed any of our allies, they knew under Donald Trump the consequences, they would be dire. And according to President Trump, no matter what, the United States would maintain control of Bagram Air Force Base in perpetuity. We built it, we paid for it, we own it, we're keeping it. But then came Joe Biden, the self-proclaimed foreign policy expert, and his clueless advisors arbitrarily pushing the withdrawal date to August, okay, during the peak Taliban fighting season. Then Biden did nothing as the Taliban terrorists began what was a full-scale assault on our Afghan allies, and they began their march that led them to taking control of Kabul. And that started in April, and then May, and then June, and July, and then August. And instead of fighting back at any point and pushing back on the Taliban and holding them accountable, as Donald Trump said he would, and stop their advance, Biden ordered a full-scale retreat, abandoning base after base in the middle of the night, leaving weapons and aircraft and military gear, important biometrics data behind, all for the Taliban's taking. He's now armed them completely. In private, Joe Biden knew that his Afghanistan policies, well, they were rapidly collapsing. But instead of being honest with we, the American people, instead of warning Americans that were there while we had control of Kabul, warning our allies while we had control and telling them we're going to speed up this withdrawal, leave immediately, he goes on national TV and said, no, everything's great, one of the best trained armies in the world. He promised that the Afghan army was more than capable of defending the country. That's what he said in July, the same month that he's going to tell, oh, that's right, the president of Afghanistan to lie. Look.
Is a Taliban takeover of Afghanistan now inevitable?
No, it is not. Because you have the Afghan troops have 300,000 well-equipped, as well-equipped as any army in the world, and an air force against something like 75,000 Taliban. It is not inevitable.
None of that was true, and we now know Joe Biden knew it wasn't true. Joe Biden lied to you, the American people, right there. And we have the proof to show you. And now, according to a leaked phone call conversation and transcript from July, courtesy of Reuters, we know that Joe Biden also encouraged the Afghan president to lie as well and change the perception, whether it's true or not. You need to just project a different picture that all is great. Joe needed a political win. So perception was more important than the reality that we all know Joe knew and the rest of the world knew. And so in July, while engaging and encouraging Ghani to change perceptions, Biden abandoned Bagram Air Base in the middle of the night. In doing so, he left every American and every one of our Afghan allies in Kabul totally, completely defenseless. And in 1 month, the Taliban easily marched to the outskirts of Afghanistan's capital city. Not prepared to take control of such a large city, well, Washington Post is now telling us the Taliban actually offered not to invade Kabul, to let Joe Biden keep it. Joe Biden, according to their report, said, no thanks. The city's all yours. We'll just retreat. Just let us have the airport. And guess what? The perimeter around the airport, that's yours too. But don't worry, Biden was telling us, the American people, he planned for every contingency. He promised the United States would not leave any American behind. He said that over and over and over again, but you might remember this.
The commitment holds to get everyone out that, in fact, we can get out and everyone should come out. And that's the objective. That's what we're doing now. That's the path we're on, and I think we'll get there.
So Americans should understand that troops might have to be there beyond August 31st.
No, Americans should understand that we're going to try to get it done before August 31st.
But if we don't, the troops will stay.
If we don't, we'll determine at the time who's left.
And
if there are American forces, if there's American citizens left, we're going to stay till we get them all out.
We're going to stay till we get them all out. Joe Biden once again lying to the American people. The scene around the airport, it was horrific. Thousands of people rushing to get in. Many trampled to death. Many were beaten and gassed at Taliban checkpoints. There were scenes of babies being passed to U.S. soldiers, mothers and fathers literally even throwing them over walls with barbed wire and razor wire. It took hours, sometimes days, for anyone to even get to the airport gates. And American citizens, those with American visas, they were all left to fend for themselves. While other countries like France, the UK, the Dutch, they were sending special forces behind enemy lines. They were extracting their citizens. U.S. forces were under strict instructions not to leave the airport walls. As a result, many Americans turned to private security agencies, spending tens of thousands of dollars to secure safe passage to the airport. Make no mistake, there was no safe passage. Matter of fact, State Department memos to people in Afghanistan said, we cannot guarantee your safety, but you might want to make your way to the airport. How comforting. On Thursday, August the 26th, a suicide bomber detonated a massive bomb at the gates of the airport. That killed 13 brave U.S. servicemen and women and more than 150 others. Yes, their blood is on Joe Biden's hands, because all of this could easily have been prevented. Just 4 days later, all U.S. forces were gone. Well, now we have no diplomatic presence on the ground in Afghanistan. We have no embassy there. We have limited intel capabilities, no security forces whatsoever. But there are still hundreds, maybe more than 1,000. They don't know the exact number of Americans trapped behind enemy lines, hostages to the whims of the Taliban and probably soon ISIS-K and al-Qaeda. Thousands more of our Afghan allies, he signed their death certificates, and they remain hopelessly trapped. There is no way out, and now they're at the mercy of the terrorists in the Taliban, and worse. It is the single worst foreign policy failure in my lifetime, one of the worst in American history. But this week, Joe Biden, he had to congratulate himself. Mission accomplished, job well done, and goes on to say it is an extraordinary success, the right, the wise, the best decision. Really? Take a look.
The extraordinary success of this mission was due to the incredible skill, bravery, and selfless courage of the United States military and our diplomats and intelligence professionals. Now, some say we should have started mass evacuation sooner. And couldn't this have been done in a more orderly manner? I respectfully disagree.
Joe Biden has failed this country, and we will never forget it. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.